Our topic for today is biomechanics of wrist joint part 2. In the previous video we have discussed about the first joint of the wrist is the radiocarpal joint. Today we will be discussing about the midcarpal joint. Midcarpal joint, as you can see here and as the name suggests, it is the joint between the proximal and distal row of carpal bones. This blue line you can see forms the midcarpal joint. There is an articulation between scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum proximally, which forms the proximal row of the carpal bones, to the trapezium, trapezoid, capitate and hamate distally. This, as you can see here, it is a reciprocally convex and concave joint formed between the proximal and distal row of carpal bones. The distal row contributes to 2 degrees of freedom, that is ulnar and radial deviation and flexion and extension. The distal carpal row forms the foundation for the transverse and longitudinal arches of the hand. Now the ligaments of the wrist complex. Ligamentous structure of the wrist complex is responsible for the articular stability as well as guiding and checking the motions of the carpal bones. There are 2 sets of ligaments: dorsal ligaments, which are thin in nature, and volar ligaments, which are thick. These thin ligaments are dorsally located. These thick volar ligaments are stronger than the dorsal thin ligaments. Now, the ligaments are further divided into extrinsic and intrinsic. As the name suggests, the extrinsic ligaments connect the radius and ulna to the metacarpals. They run from the outer structure of the joints formed by the distal end of radius and ulna to the metacarpals. These intrinsic ligaments, they connect the carpals to each other, that is interconnecting the carpal bones. Now, the properties are important because the extrinsic ligaments they get vascularized, or they get their nutrition from the contiguous tissues, whereas the intrinsic ligaments get their nutrition through the synovial fluid. The risk of injury for extrinsic ligament is higher than that of intrinsic ligaments. The healing is faster because of the higher vascular supply. The healing is slower because of poor vascular supply. We will be now discussing volar carpal ligaments. They are organized into 2 groups: radiocarpal, that is the proximal attachment is to the radius bone, the distal end of the radius bone, and the distal attachment is to the carpal bones. The second is ulnocarpal ligaments. The proximal attachment is to the ulna and the distal attachment is to the carpal bones. This have 3 distinct bands. First is radioscaphocapitate, which runs from radius, scaphoid and capitate, also known as radiocapitate. See, in this diagram you can see these are a various type of ligament. This here you can see running from radius, scaphoid and capitate. This forms the radioscaphoid capitate ligament. The second ligament is radioscapho-ulnar, the radioscapho-lunate ligament, which stabilize the scaphoid. Right? We will see in this diagram. Here you can see radioscapho-capitate ligament. Here you can see radiolunate. It is a long radiolunate and a short radiolunate. This were all about the volar ligaments. Now we have the dorsal ligaments. The dorsal ligaments are of two sets: dorsal radiocarpal ligaments, that is connecting the radius and the carpal bones. You can see here this is the dorsal, here this is the ligament, okay, and the dorsal intercarpal, that is connecting the carpals. You can see here this intercarpal ligament, which forms they together form a V shaped, and they are taut in wrist flexion. Now talking about muscle, the muscles are divided into flexors located volarly and extensors located dorsally. They are palmaris longus, flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor digitorum superficialis, flexor digitorum profundus, flexor pollicis longus. For extensors, extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor carpi ulnaris, extensor digitorum communis, extensor indicis, extensor digiti minimi, extensor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis longus. So these are the muscles of the wrist joint. Now the range of motion: for flexion it is 65 to 85 degree, for extension coming back from flexion, that is 60 to 85 degree, radial deviation 15 to 21 degrees, ulnar deviation 20 to 45 degrees. So here we come to an end of the second joint, that is the midcarpal joint of the wrist complex. Thank you.